Welcome back to another episode of Toy Stories. That's right, it is my time to share your toy stories that you have submitted over on toystories.com, or you can access it on tracysdog.com. These are your toy stories, and I love sharing them because I feel like it's a great way for me to connect with you, my Toy Stories fam. Let's get right into it. I got the OG Pro clitoral sucking vibrator for my girlfriend, and as everyone else is saying, it's the best toy ever. She loves to lay in the tub with it and read spicy books. She will have a leg shaking orgasm after another leg shaking orgasm. I actually had to buy a second one so that when the battery died, she didn't have to wait for it to charge back up. She loves it so much, and she tells all of her friends about it. It's funny. I love that. And yes, you can use the OG sucking vibe in the shower, in the tub. I love how it's waterproof. And that is the toy that made me fall in love with tracysdog.com and all of their toys. All the reviews are true. It does give you mind-blowing orgasms. And I think it's because of the G-spot stimulation and the clitoral stimulation together and the intensity of it that really just works. So I love that your wife is enjoying the toy. You are such a good husband because you bought her two. Thinking ahead, planning ahead. And as a girl whose batteries are always dying, I can appreciate that. So I love that for you. And I most certainly love that for her. I have several roommates and they don't need to know everything about me. I got Coco from tracysdog.com, and it has been a magical escape for me, mostly because this toy is so silent. I can fully enjoy it without any worries of someone hearing my fun. I love that for you. And that's a thing, right? If you have family members in the house or, other people that are, even like your neighbors and stuff, like you don't want to have this big, like jackhammer sounding machine in your bedroom, right? And so one of the things that I absolutely love about Coco and why I suggest her to my newer couples, my newbies who want to jump into the toy world, is because she is so whisper quiet. And not only, it's funny because I'm looking at her, she's charging down there. Not only is she so quiet, but she packs a powerful punch, okay? It is the most versatile, easy to use toy. She has one button. She has multiple settings that are easy to toggle through. They're not confusing. They're not overwhelming. And again, she is so quiet. So I love that for you. You can keep your private time. And then also it's great to use with a partner because it's not so intimidating, right? Like I actually have had wand vibrators before where I'm like, wow, this is really loud, huh? And he's like, yeah, it's a little loud. So Coco, she's just amazing. And I love that you're having a magical escape with her. Enjoy that fun. I am a sex toy lover. I have several of your toys, and they are the best toys I have ever used. I love using these in front of my husband. I wanted to share this one because she talks about sharing and using it in front of her husband. And that is such a hot thing to do and a very sexually empowering thing to do. The only advice I would give to a woman who wants to do that with their partner, or a male to do it with their partner, is to use the toy yourself first. Get to know it. What are the different settings? What are the ways that the toy can really make you climax? How do you like to be in position for this specific toy? So get to know the toy first alone and then use it with your partner. And using it in front of your partner is one of the hottest things ever. I have experienced that I've done that with girls and guys, and it's such an intimate thing as well, and a very liberating thing to do. So I love that you're using your toys in front of your partner. By the way, I'm laughing because, like I said, I just put the studio back together and I have glue all over my hands. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Show must go on. I have a really hard time focusing on myself when I'm with my partner. We decided to try something different and bring toys into the fun. At first, I was nervous, but the moment he turned the toy on, I felt a wave run through my body. After a few minutes, the wave turned into an uncontrollable, intense feeling that left me grabbing at the sheets. Seconds later, my body erupted when I couldn't hold back any longer, and I had a full body shaking orgasm. I love that you shared that you have a hard time focusing on yourself to reach climax with your partner, because I think that's a very real thing that most women do not talk about. Okay. I speak with one of my girlfriends about this, about how your mind and your body have to match. Like that has to connect in order for us to orgasm. I know with men, it's more of a physical thing, but for women, and in my experience and my girlfriend's experience, you have to have your mind and your body match. And so a toy is a great way to amplify things and make that connection happen faster. Because I don't know about you, but I have definitely been with a partner and they're doing all they can. I'm doing all I can. And we're like, I reach a point where like I'm sweating and I'm like, is he thinking I'm taking too long? I'm taking too long. I know he thinks I'm taking too long. And then I put pressure on myself and I'm full of anxiety, and it just ruins the moment. And I will tell you, I think that's a big reason why I did not reach orgasm for many, many years with my partners. It wasn't for their lack of trying. I can guarantee you that. It was my mind and my body were not matching. And so I think using toys to bridge that gap is an amazing tool to use. So I love that for you. Before I got with my wife, hold on. Before I got with my wife, I always viewed toys as competition. Since we started experimenting with them, our sex life has improved greatly, and it has been amazing. I wish I would have done it sooner. I love that you said that you thought toys were competition, because I feel like I'm always saying, especially on this show, toys are not your competition. Think of them as your tag team partner. Okay. And it's true. Like they're not your competition. And even if you try to compete with them, there is no competition, right? And we know that. And we don't expect that from our partners. But toys just bring further enjoyment. And there's nothing better than watching, like for me as a giver, watching your partner get satisfied no matter what it takes to get there. Like take your ego and leave it outside the bedroom door. You're not a bad lover. It's okay if your partner needs toys. Like I'm a girl like that. Like there's a lot of times where I'll say, hey, I'm going to use my toy, or hey, I'm going to put things in my own hands, if you know what I'm saying. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's absolutely not a slight on what you're doing or your expertise. It's just sometimes toys just make things better. Like these stories are testimonies to that. So I finally got a chance to use Rosie, and I have to say the experience lived up to all the hype that I've seen and heard about all on your show. I love that for you. I cannot agree more. I love Rosie. She was one of the first clip pulsing toys that I've ever used. I had no idea what a clip pulser was until I experienced Rosie, and now P.Cat on tracysdog.com. Like that is my girl. And I love Rosie. I do, but P.Cat has my heart. I'm looking at her right now. She's right there. She's charging. But Rosie, let's talk about her. What I love about her is that she does that to you. I think one of my reviews, I said, she made me realize that I can speak whale. Okay. Like I didn't know I could do that. And Rosie, she gets you there, and her magical 6th setting. Okay. So as you toggle through, because you're going to be using your toy, experimenting with it, enjoying it with your partner, hopefully, you'll toggle through and you'll get to know the settings. Like the first 3 settings are just a static vibe or pulse. I like to think of, they're more clip pulsers to me. Okay. So the first one's like a lighter. The second one's pretty intermediate. It's like, okay, we're stepping things up here. And then the third one is like, you got to work up to that. Okay. And then the fourth one, I think, is like a tapping pulse. And then there's other variations. I think there's 10 different ones. But the 6th one does this like bump, 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 bump. And I swear to you, it edges you. And it creates this buildup that you will not believe. And I like to call it like this, the pyramid orgasm, the step ladder orgasm, whatever you want to call it. It is explosive. And both Rosie and P.Cat have this setting where it just, it's the best. It's magical. Rainbows, butterflies, unicorns everywhere. Okay. Like they're flying around. I do want to say something though. If you're using Rosie especially, P.Cat's a little bit more, easy to use without lube, but Rosie requires lube. I've had a couple of friends that have said to me, Adrienne, it's just too much. It's too much friction. It's too powerful. And I'm like, did you use lube? And they're like, no. I'm like, yeah, you must use lube. So highly recommend Rosie with lube, and then P.Cat. The reason why I like P.Cat more, and I'm just gonna be really honest with you, is because she's easier to hold, and also she has more of an oval area, and Rosie's more of a circle, and I find I like more of an oval shape, and so that to me. But Rosie is an amazing toy, and I love that she lived up to her expectations for you. I want to save our marriage. My husband and I have been together 23 years, and we need help. Our home was in a fire. We lost it all. And yes, that means our toys. Oh no. Now, don't get me wrong. My husband is an amazing lover and a pleaser. He's the best. But I love clit stimulators, and I would love to try maybe a clit sucker. I heard Tracy's dog through watching a stand-up comedian special with Dion Cole, an amazing, hilarious skit, by the way. If you haven't watched that, go YouTube it. And the way he described it, I want to reach that big O so bad. Please help me save my marriage. What toy do you suggest? Okay, so the one that Dion Cole was talking about is the OG clit pulsar, clit sucker, or OG sucking vibe over on tracysdog.com. And that one has G-spot stimulation, and that is a true clit sucker, okay? Unlike Rosie, unlike P.Cat, which like sends out pulses of air, the OG sucking vibe, it like literally like sucks your clit in. It's a very intense toy. I highly recommend the OG sucking toy for sure. And I think you should just get it because that's what Dion Cole was talking about. So I think you should just get that for that reason. But also, while you're in there, throw P.Cat in your bag, okay? P.Cat is an extremely easy toy to use. I'm the same way. I'm a clit climaxer. She is just amazing. In her magical 6 setting, which I was just talking about, you cannot go wrong. Like, you will absolutely love it. And while you're in there, get yourself a Coco too, especially if you're using toys with a partner. I just love that little bullet vibrator, and you will too. So get the OG sucking vibe. P.Cat for sure. Like, I feel like if anyone goes to tracysdog.com, you have to buy P.Cat with every order if you don't already have her. Now I have 2 and I give them to other people. So but you must have a P.Cat. It is my favorite toy. Like, I really cannot speak highly enough about that toy. So I hope that saves your marriage. I hope that you guys have rebuilt. Like I said, I'm dealing with water and flooding, and I can't even imagine losing everything in a fire. I'm so sorry. And I hope that you guys are doing better. And I hope that these toys, save you. They will. I didn't have a sex toy until I was 24 years old. I always thought it was more taboo than regular practice. When one of my girlfriends found out, she turned the car around whilst driving. She turned the car around and we walked into my local Walgreens. Did you know that Walgreens sells vibrators? Well, they do. Quite basic ones. I paid for it and she took me back home, and she told me to call her in an hour. I found the perfect video to watch and got to work. I was blown away. Ever since, I have been very open and curious with toys. Luckily, I have a partner who still sees toys as helpful and not a competition. Since I'm still slightly new, I look forward to seeing what toys would you suggest that I can discover. So if you got just a regular basic vibrator from Walgreens, I would say upgrade to a clit pulsar. So P.Cat or Rosie. And the OG sucking vibe is amazing too. But they do have this tapping one now. And then they have the OG Flow. She's amazing. Okay, my mind's racing. Okay, get yourself a clit pulsing toy next. I think that's a good upgrade from a regular vibrator. So go from a bullet vibrator to that clit pulsing or that Rosie or P.Cat. And then we'll graduate from there. Send me a DM over on Instagram at TD, it's Toy Stories _TD, and I'm in the DMs. So ask me anything if you have any questions. I would love to help you evolve and grow in your toy journey, especially with your partner. Okay. My wife went through menopause and cut me off for almost 2 years. I thought about cheating, but I held off. And eventually she started using some toys. By the way, don't cheat. Like, that's just 10 out of 10. Do not recommend. Eventually she started really getting into toys again. Magically, her libido came back and we're at it like teenagers again. We add toys to our lovemaking and it gets hotter and hotter all the time. I love that. And as a midlifer, I want to speak to you about how that is a very real thing. And I had a hysterectomy last year. And one of my biggest fears was, is my sex drive going to go away? Like, is that going to be impacted? Because I was terrified, if I'm being honest. And luckily it didn't. But I know that, the change is coming and, your hormones. And this is a very real thing. And I think it's something that's very important to talk about. So if toys helped your wife's libido and bring your sex life back to where it was when you were teenagers, I mean, hell yeah, I love that for you. And thank you for sharing that, because I do think that toys can be an excellent way to help you get over something like that and to spice things up, to turn your libido back on. And so keep it going. I have another menopause story, because I think it's just such a big thing and it's not talked about enough. Okay. When I went through menopause, I had a severe drop in my libido that impacted my marriage. My husband refused to listen to me about it, and I told him I needed more stimulation. We went for long periods without sex. One day, I found one of my old vibrators, and in turn, I found my libido again. I decided to let my husband in on the fun, and we now have a growing collection of amazing toys, and we are always looking for a new thrill. Again, this is very similar to the story before, and I love that for you. And I think it's so vital. This is why it's so vital to communicate and talk with your partner about what you're going through, about, this might be impacting me, or, hey, my libido is changing. And for men as well, like, hey, I think I'm battling a little bit of erectile dysfunction. Like, let's talk about it and then help each other get through it. Like, you should never suffer in silence, especially when you're in a relationship. Let's talk to our partners and encourage and promote that type of safe space for them to feel free and able to talk to us about this. Because once we talk about it, let's work on ways that we can fix and correct it, and then have an overall sexually satisfying life again. You know what I mean? Because it's so vital. And I love that toys are bringing your libidos back, ladies. I love that for you. We love the couples toys that hit the G spot. The OG sucking vibe is the best. That's all. I love that statement, because I agree. It's true and it's amazing. Me and my wife have debated for 2 years about using sex toys to spice up our sex life. Granted, it was already good, but what I had experienced with what sex toys can do for a couple's life, I wanted to encourage. My wife was old-fashioned and thought sex toys were for single people only, and she thought it might bore her. I took it upon myself to order a remote-controlled dildo. And even after it arrived, she was still hesitant. And then one night, she had 5 orgasms, and she has been sold on the ideas of what other toys can do for her. We have been dedicated to sex toys as a part of our sex life now for 7 years, and it's been amazing. I love that for you. And you know what? You stayed the course. You kept promoting it, and you kept supporting her and encouraging her. Like, hey, maybe we should try this again. Or, hey, now I'm going to get you the remote control one, which is super fun. I didn't know there was a remote control dildo, by the way. I thought it was that vibrator. So let me know what that, drop that link in the YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, drop it in the comments, or good, like I said, go over to Instagram, Toy Stories _TD, and let me know what that is, because I would like to experiment that. But I love that for you, and it's just that's such an encouraging story about how, be open-minded, allow yourself to explore. Think outside of the box. And I know it's difficult, especially for those of us that were raised a certain way, or we had values instilled on us, or it feels shameful, but really, let yourself be free. We only get one life. This is not a dress rehearsal. And if you're not living it the best that you can, what a shame. And if toys are something that helps spice up your sex life, and not only that, and listen, I know we're talking about like sex and orgasms and stuff, but that does nothing but increase the happiness in your overall relationship as well, and the intimacy that you two, the bond that you two will have. I don't know about you, but I've had dry spells in relationships and stuff, and I'm like, is something wrong? Like, I start doubting myself, my confidence drops, I'm feeling insecure, and having that healthy sex life really does encourage a longer lasting, happier relationship. And so I'm happy for you guys. This is a really, really, really long story. I'm going to try to sum it up. It's literally like 3 paragraphs, but okay, let's read it together. You ready? Years ago, I stumbled across Tracy's dog on Amazon, and I read so many reviews on its amazing orgasmic powers. Of course, I was skeptical, but I thought, why not? There was a small wait for delivery time, and when I got it, I was very happy that it charged fast. When I first opened it up, though, I will say I was like, this thing looks ridiculous, but ridiculous it was not. Once I finally figured out how to get into position and use it, I think she's talking about the OG sucking vibe. Let me tell you, this was glorious. It gave me wings. It took me straight to the heavens. This toy should be studied. If you're new to its magical powers, stick to levels 1 through 3. Levels 1 through 3 will suck your soul straight out of you and have your toes curling like you wouldn't believe. It's gentle but strong enough to show you an immensely good time. If you are ready to move on to the semi-pros, move up to the levels 4 through 7. And what she's talking about is like when you're using the clit sucking portion, you can intensify it every time you level up. And I agree. I tell my beginners, press it once or twice. Okay. Like levels 4 through 7, she says, are not for the faint of heart. Your life may flash before your eyes. You will even see every person who has ever given you an orgasm start apologizing because of the orgasms that you haven't had before. You'll start to reconsider. Oh my gosh. This is, like I said, this is a very, very, very long review here. Just know that this toy translates into becoming addicted to the most glorious toy in the world, and in the most glorious way. Get ready to pack this puppy when you go on vacation, if you're running to the grocery store, or whenever you might just need to use it. She said, hell, I'll whip mine out in the car if I have to. She said, but discreetly, of course. Do not go to jail. They do not have Tracy's dog in there. Oh my God. But seriously, people will ask you, did you do something different? You're glowing. What are you using? Your hair will appear shiny and full, and your cheeks will hurt from the daily smiles. Oh my gosh. She says, level 10 on this toy is not to be played with either. Use it wisely. And if you decide to share the magic of Tracy's dog by purchasing 1 or 2 for your girlfriends, make sure you give them these rules to follow. Don't just throw them out there all willy-nilly. Tracy's dog is the kind of toy that you need to remember that if you're not prepared to have your soul sucked, levitated outside of your body, or if you're not prepared to become a Tracy's dog addict, then the OG Tracy's dog, she's talking about the OG, what is it called again? OG sucking vibe. Gosh, I want to call it like the clit sucker, so many things. But she says, if you're not prepared to become addicted to this toy, then Tracy's dog may not be for you. You have been warned. Okay. I love that. And I love it's like a viral, review of this toy. And, the OG sucking vibe, it is where it's at. Like it's an amazing toy. And I think what's so cool about it is it's not a regular vibrator. It's not a regular clit pulsar or clits. It's a true clit sucker, but it stimulates 2 areas at the same time. So it's clitoral stimulation and G-spot stimulation. And I think that's what the differentiator is about this toy. So you can get all of these toys we talked about today. Rosie, P.Cat, OG Flow, OG Sucking Vibe, all of these toys over on tracysdog.com. And remember, I want to hear your toy stories. So head over to Toy Stories, that's ToyStoriezz.com, and I'll be reading them and sharing them again with you next month. I look forward to it.